Hello guys, I'm back, and today we'll be reviewing another top 5. This time we'll be reviewing the top 5 underrated guns in Call of Duty World at War. For this video, we'll mostly be reviewing weapons that are perceived as bad or mediocre by the main consensus of the community, but are actually a lot better than they seem. Whatever thoughts you may have about the video, feel free to share them in the comments below. But anyways, let's start with our number 5 pick. Coming in at our number 5 spot is the Type 100. Now, unlike a lot of other weapons in this list, it isn't really good or bad. It kind of falls into that little gray category of weapons. No one really talks about this weapon, which is why there's really no widespread opinion about it. Although it's not thought of as bad, really, I feel like there's a lot of really good qualities to this gun that are generally overlooked, which is exactly what I'm going to be talking about right now. For one, it's got a pretty fast fire rate akin to that of the Thompson. However, to balance it out, its mag size is actually bigger. On top of that, it has a side mag that you reload, which is actually pretty interesting because there's no other weapons in the game like it. Additionally, it also has a pretty low recoil and also high hipfire accuracy compared to a lot of other fast firing SMGs. The only downside to this weapon is the location. In every map that has a wall buy on, it's always located in the most close quarters out of the way areas. Probably why the Thompson got noticed compared to the Type 100, because it actually was placed in a decent location. If it was placed in a convenient area like the courtyard or bridge for grabbing ammo, then this weapon would be a lot better received, but instead, it was placed in dangerous locations and no one bothered getting it. Sad story, but anyways, let's move on to our number 4 spot. Now in our number 4th spot, we have the double-barreled shotgun and the sawed-off double-barreled shotgun. Now, I decided to put them both in the same spot because they're essentially the same thing. The only differences between the two is that the normal one is powerful and heavy, while the sawed-off shotgun has lighter mobility with weaker damage, plus a grip attachment for some reason. Now, there are quite a few things that held both of these guns back. One of them is that the sawed-off never even made it to Dries, so it doesn't even have a pack-a-punch variant, though the unused name for it was called the Snuff Box. Also, just like the Type 100, it was overshadowed by another wall-buy shotgun, the trench gun. Back when shotguns weren't really the most overpowered weapons in the world, like in BO3, no one really bought them for anything more than just a decent dog killing weapon or just for dumb fun. And even then, everyone paid more attention to the trench gun over the double-barreled shotguns. To be fair, if you have any of the double-barreled shotguns, you have to constantly reload, and the reloads themselves are definitely on the slow side. But that still doesn't mean it's bad. It's still extremely powerful against singular zombies and has better hipfire accuracy than other shotguns. So you happen to be playing some Dries or camping at the balcony and Nuct, give these guns a chance and perhaps they won't disappoint. Coming in at our number 3 spot, we have one of the most ignored, overlooked weapons in the history of zombies, the M1A1 Carbine. This weapon takes a really huge blow to the face, not just for being underrated, but also being forgettable. It's a weapon that's been there since the very first map, but never really got recognized for what it truly is. Semi-automatic rifles aren't exactly the most sought after weapons, but I have to say this one's actually pretty good. I like the sight on it. It's pretty decent for headshot damage if you spam properly, and on top of that, it's just a really fun gun to use. When you pack-a-punch it, you get the Wittershins RC1, whatever that means. It becomes fully automatic and headshot power goes through the roof. The only problem with it is that it has a fast fire rate with low ammo in reserve, so you always have to constantly buy some, but even so, it's still a pretty good weapon that's fun to use. placing in our second spot is the PTRS-41. Ah yes, the one-shot wonder. Now, the PTRS is only one of 2 scoped snipers in World at War, and the only one to actually have a pack-punched variant. Near the beginning of Zombies, snipers didn't really have the best track record, as there was only a few in existence, and they weren't very practical, powerful, or plentiful enough in bullets. It wasn't until BO2 when snipers actually became overpowered, but I have to say that the PTRS is the SB of World at War. For instance, look at this clip. Anything that can one-hit kill a zombie unpack-a-punched on round 30 is actually amazing. And I wish more people who disregard this gun could try and realize its power. To be fair, it does have its fair share of flaws, i.e. bad immobility, slow reload, but it truly deserves recognition for its high headshot damage and penetration in hordes. Overall, it's a hard weapon that's devastating when used correctly, and more people ought to give this gun out a try for themselves. Now, we do have one gun that deserves an honorable mention. It is the .357 Magnum. Again, like snipers, revolver type handguns don't really get that good until BO2. Even so, it's still a pretty decent weapon. But the thing that puts it out of this list for me is that it's good, but it's not exactly that good. For instance, it 2 shots on a pretty low round, and pack-a-punch it doesn't really get that much better. The thing that confuses me the most about this gun is the mobility. I don't understand this, but for some reason the MG42's mobility is actually pretty close to the Magnum. A pistol is the same as an LMG. That doesn't make any sense, but let's move on to our number 1 spot. Carbine is the best gun of all time! But let's be calm now. I just want to joke about that for a second, but coming in our number 1 spot, we have the Carbine. And no, this is not a joke. Never has a weapon this bad, this impractical, this hated been so good at the same time. I bet you're probably thinking, dude, it has low accuracy, it's a single fire rifle, it has low penetration power, and it has weak damage overall. Please say you're trolling, because anyone who loves this weapon unironically was surely dropped on their head as a child. Well, you'd be correct about all these things, but there's one big factor that erases every sin this gun bears: headshot damage. This gun is undeniably amazing for headshots, one-shotting Z's in the 20s. This gun has been ignored, forgotten, and spat on for generations, and I can't take it any longer. I must bring this weapon justice. This gun is the very definition of a hidden gem. Sure, it takes a little accuracy and sniper skill to properly damage the zombies, but if you're good enough at aiming, and if you're up to the task, you'll be popping heads 24/7.
I'm a poet, and I didn't know it.
Anyways, I hope you guys liked this video, and in general, thanks for watching to the end, because I appreciate any type of support I get from you viewers. If you'd like, feel free to comment whatever you thought about this video in the comments. If you liked it, feel free to like and subscribe as well for more content in the future. But be wary, the countdown to the zombie apocalypse has begun. This is where it all begun. Is this where it ends?